There was no sound because I forgot to turn the mic on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm here now. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Sorry I forgot to turn my mic on. Today is Demo Listen Feedback Day. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate y'all being here. I forgot to turn the mic on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm here now. I just spilled G Fuel on my computer. It's fine. Yeah. We're off to a good start. So, I'm going to be here for a while so I can get through as many of these as possible. Turn my mic on. I'm going to start. Everyone's asking what I'm starting with. I'm going to start with the ones I got today. I'm going to get through them quick. And then once I get through those, I am going to start listening to the older ones. And I'm going to get through as many as possible. I appreciate everyone being here. Big lit, big nice. If you send in a song and it doesn't get listened to, I'm doing my absolute best to get to as many as possible. So yeah, let's run it. Let me close these notifications and get to it. All right, so first one is by Daniel Cheek. I sent you one last week but didn't have time to get to it. Really enjoyed the stream. Cool, so this kind of gets that out of the way. I missed it last time, but now I got it. The cricket didn't draw.
Radical sound. Radical sound.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So off the bat, the things I noticed were the sub during the whole build was a little much for me. Generally, I kind of hold back the low end during build-ups. But more than that, I was hearing artifacts. I don't know what they were from, whether it was from you maybe stretched the sub, or there was some sort of distortion on it maybe. Maybe it was just too loud. But I was hearing some sort of like, didn't sound intentional kind of crinkles going on in the sub during the build. That was bothering me the most. Really creative drop, honestly. Like I don't hear much stuff like that. I really enjoyed how it's creative and it's unique. Mixdown wise, the sub was bothering me for sure. But the drums were solid. The flow was solid. It's got a hook that's an interesting idea. The sound design was a little basic feeling, whether that was intentional or not. You know, sometimes it is intentional and that's totally cool. Personal preference wise, I like a little bit more complex movement, or maybe just more interesting pew-pews, you know what I mean? That hit in different frequency registries. And it did start to get a little bit repetitive. Maybe if you modulate those pew-pews over time, to have different variants and different timbres and stuff. After like each 8-bar rotation. Love the samples in the background. I'm not too big on the second drop, honestly. It sounds a little bit out of key. Um, and that kind of quarter time part, I think, could be made more interesting if you fill out those spaces with some Foley samples. Um, and yeah. Okay. Big ups archived. FLW. Are these all from today? Oh no, they're starting to pile up. Alright, I gotta go faster. Ope. Void Boys. Ghost in the Daytime. So off the bat, I'm not big on the intro drums. They feel like 2012 dubstep drop drums, but in the intro. Definitely change the snare. Maybe don't start off with drums in the one spot. The melody seems vaguely a little bit sort of out of key, but I can't really tell. I think it's with the pad in the background. I would change the instrumentation off the top of my head. Maybe it's just my preference. It just sounds a little bit flat. The like organ and stuff just sounds a little bit flat and like MIDI sounding. The low end on this part of the tune is very strange.
You prolong your existence into a lifetime of agony.
So the main thing is the drums need to be so much louder. Almost the number one thing with Arrow 404 discern not found. The most important thing when it comes to learning mixdowns, and just the most important thing about mixdowns, at least in heavy bass music, where you're trying to make the crowd do violent things, is the snare needs to be the loudest thing in the mix, pretty much. Or at least when the snare is hitting, it needs to be on top of everything else. Or not on top of, but it needs to be the thing that is the most prevalent in the mix for sure. And behind that is the kick, and then probably behind that is the sub, and those three things are just mixed very quietly in this. The sub feels a little bit messy. I would just start with like a blank sine wave or just hip hop sub, which is a preset in Ableton if you have Ableton. The mix down wise, definitely those are the things that need to be addressed ASAP. Creative idea, but just sounds a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It starts to get repetitive for sure.
Now let's see if they're brave enough to earn
it. A lot of the samples are coming in way too loud as well. It sounds like you have like a 808 kick or something that's being like very, very heavily compressed. I think everything just sounds really, really heavily compressed. Yeah. Okay, Corrupt Criminal demo. Oh, he's making me download it. Can I just listen to this? Yes. Kick and snare is good, but the sidechain on the 808 is too long, and then the sidechain comes in delayed. I would also EQ that background percussion. I would EQ those little too much low end. So the drums in the sub are great. I like the sub. I like the drums. They're coming through good. The sound design, it's like very interesting, and I know the feeling of like finding a cool sound and like wanting to use it in a tune. But I think the part that you missed was the flow. It was just kind of all over the place. I mean, it was weird, but like the actual flow in terms of being catchy and something memorable, it was just it kind of missed that. As well as also it was lacking a lot of mids, a lot of lower mids. It was a lot of high end. There was a lot of piercing and clashing frequencies. But for me, I lost it with the flow. It was just a little bit too out there flow wise. I mean, a lot of times being off grid is great. Like that's kind of the vibe, is just finding unique flows, interesting flows that haven't been done before. But it sounded like there was like an overlap of things that kind of just took it away from me. Yeah. Attention by HYADN. Hayden? I don't know. Hayden? Off the bat, the intro is pretty solid. The drums are good. I want to hear more layers on that vocal sample and more processing, maybe a high-end layer that's an octave up. It seems a little bit flat and one-dimensional, but the kick is great. The intro drums are good, and I like the way the layers are coming in. Okay, so your background sounds and your fill sounds are way quieter than your main sound. The main sound is up to par, but could for sure be more interesting. The pew 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 sounds in the background I'm really not crazy about, but some of the fill basses, if they're not samples, are pretty solid. But could be a little bit louder and could be a little bit more processed to sound a little bit more unique sounding. They're sounding... The reason why I say they might be samples is because they just sound like a little bit like they've been used before, or just like sounds we've heard before. Whether that's a sample or something you made yourself, the goal is to make unique sounding sounds, and a lot of those are sounding like sounds I've heard, which isn't the end of the world, but something you could improve upon. The drums are pretty solid though. I like definitely recognize that sound. Like that's just like any dubstep growl. And the pitch of the melody is kind of weirdly out of key thinking, I think. Yeah. What up, QK? What a Don. What a Don. Big up UK in the chat. Alright, let's get back to this. Frankie Styles, Hypnosis.
Hypnosis is a state of human consciousness involving focused attention, reduced peripheral awareness, and an enhanced capacity to respond to suggestion. The term may also refer to art.
Big up Pete O'Malley for subscribing. That's tight. Has anyone played Hotline Miami? Because that's exactly what this song makes me think of. I fuck with that heavily. I like that a lot. I can't think of much I would change about it. The impact feels I mean, it could just be genre and stylistic. How the impact of the initial drop hits. It feels a little bit muddy in the lower mid. But like, the song itself is tight as fuck. All the fill sounds are properly mixed. All the drums are coming through good. The hi-hats are a little bit pushed in the back. The rides are perfectly dialed in, though. Kudos to you on that, because that's not easy. There's moments where it gets a little repetitive, but overall, fucking great tune. Well done. We got another Publixa tune. Did I listen to this last time?
These are demon.
I gave you feedback last time, I'm pretty sure, but this one is cool. Sounds are a little bit on like the generic side of kind of things, sort of maybe. It might just be a little bro steppy for my taste. Some of the sounds are a little terror squatty. Fill sounds are tight. Drums are tight. Drums could be more interesting, but they're coming through good. Mixdown sounds solid. It's just a little bro steppy for me, but I want to give feedback to people who haven't gotten feedback yet as well. But big ups. Solid ass mixdown. What up, Curtis? I already like that a lot. Big up and armless boy. That was tight as fuck for sure. I fuck with that heavily. Really like the intro. Don't have much to say negatively. That's a great hook. Love that brass or string sample. Brass. Kicks coming through fantastically. Vocals are good. Love the top layer. Solid build, but could have more elements to the build.
Peace, I want justice, I'ma lick it with the...
It's cool, but the one part that kind of bothered me a little bit was it sounds like the pre-drop were like a little bit out of key compared to what was happening in the intro, or maybe a little bit in a different scale potentially, maybe a little bit. Very tight. Would play crowd depending for sure. But vaguely too different from the vibe that was going on in the intro. I feel like it didn't melodically exactly match up, which I struggle with personally a lot as well. But there's great mix down. Like I can tell you really know what you're doing. And I'm a harsher critic on the people who really know what they're doing. I give two types of feedback. One type of feedback is like the feedback I give to people who are like learning how to do this and the basic things to work on. And then the other type of feedback are kids like this who definitely know how the fuck to make music for sure. But I'm going to give you feedback like I'm giving like a close homie feedback where it's like, all right, here's how to like, anyway. Marijuana speakings. Anyway, no, this is super dope. But I feel like it's a little bit out of key. And I feel like you could use a little bit more of a motif. There's definitely a motif there, but there are times where it's like I'm looking for more symmetry flow wise. That's a great sound. But at the same time, a lot of these sounds, hype train, what's good? Cool. We got 3 subs and 200 bits out of that. Big ups, everyone. That's so cool. A lot of these sounds, as clean and good as they are and well mixed in, and not preset-y sounding, they are still sounds I've been hearing recently from other people in like terms of style. Like they all kind of remind me of a sound I've like sort of heard. I don't know. Could be a little bit more unique. I like this sound a lot. That's great. I love how wet it is. I like how wet the verbiness is, but then I like how dry it gets. That's a great juxtaposition. Like they're good Reese's, but I think they could use a little bit more movement just to stand so they can stand out a little bit more. I think the Reese bases could stand out just a little bit more, but some notch filtering. I don't know if you're familiar with a disperser, but that might make it sound cool. Lots of vocal cuts. It's a long note in here that was tight too. Maybe some pitch bending on that long note. Maybe some more filter movement on the respace that comes after. Love the FM automation. Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Izzy Vidum or like Matt Doe. Really fucking solid ass tune though. One of the better ones today. It's crackling because my CPU is spiking, which is super annoying. What can I close? Still spiking? I really should be streaming on my PC, honestly. I just don't feel like setting it all up. Plus, my MacBook, technical spec-wise, is like equal to my PC. This Mac should be like dumb, stupid, fast, and good. But it's probably graphics card based, and graphics cards just aren't something that Macs can be good at, no matter what. You can have a good ass CPU. Faizo explained it to me in some regard. He's like, because it puts a strain on your graphics card, it translates it to your CPU, which seems like CPU spiking even though you have a good ass CPU. Yeah, okay, let's see. That's better. Big up Emma Rocks for subscribing. This sounds like a really strange sidechain situation going on during that build, like, or maybe an auto pan. Something is fluttering and it almost doesn't sound intentional.
This is noise.
This is definitely tight. You definitely know what you're doing. It's a little bit generic for my taste. The flow could be a little bit catchier, and it gets really busy with the long notes. Hey, big up Plurific for subscribing. It sounds tight, but it just sounds a little bit... The growls are a teensy bit generic for my taste. Very tight, very big, very heavy. It's one of those songs where if you were the first dubstep act at a festival and you were the first dubstep of the night, and everyone's been waiting for dubstep, and you play this, it would go the fuck off. But if you play it in the middle of a heavy dubstep set, it wouldn't necessarily stand out. The long notes are a little bit busy feeling, especially on the switch. The ride stands out a little bit too much in a weird way. I think the basses could use soothe or just some EQ scooping and correcting some of the harsh frequencies. But kind of like the last tune, I'm giving you feedback because this critically because I can tell you really know what you're doing. And you're a really good producer, and this song is very good, and I would almost play it, but it could be a little bit more unique. The flow's cool, but the flow loses me at times.
This is noise.
Great sample. That's cool, but it's just a little messy. I think the crashes are making it a little bit too messy. Yeah, it's just messy. It's very good, but the lower mids are messy. Solid. I want to hear more from you. He's probably got some slappers, I'm sure. Sounds like he's definitely got the sound design to make some cool shit, and definitely got the mix down to make some cool shit. E-Thoughts, Untitled. Can we get a Faizo in the chat? That main arpeggiated lead is a little bit flat sounding, like it could use more modulation, just be a more sound with more depth to it, and by the second 16 bars, it's starting to get repetitive. Drums are solid, but the sweeps are too loud. Okay, so I'm going to categorize this in the newer to producer category, newer to producing category. The best telltale sign of this by far. And if I could say this to every new producer on the earth, I would, because I did it too. Everyone does this when they're new to producing. They make their sweeps too loud. So one of the key core principles when it comes to making a drop that has impact, in my opinion, what I've noticed, big ups P Wolf 2-1 for subbing. One of the things I noticed definitely, you need an element of loud, then quiet, then loud. That's generally the formula to get a crowd response. Loud build up, quiet anything for a moment, and then loud drop. Space between the build up and the drop essentially is what I'm talking about. So it needs that. And then the sound design on the drop, it sounds like you're still learning sound design. So just keep practicing. Make literally what I tell people who are new, force yourself. Today, big up, hello, I'm Dean, subscribing at tier 1. For real, this is an exercise I strongly recommend you doing, and I guarantee you will see results. It's kind of like working out, but for producing. Sit down, pick your synth of choice, whether it be Serum or Massive or Harmer or some sort of FM-based synth or phase plant. Sit down with your synth, make 50 patches. I don't know if it takes an hour, it takes 12 hours. Make 50 patches that are all distinguishably different from each other. Doesn't matter if they're good. It matters if they're different from each other. After you're done writing those 50 patches, you are going to be more familiar with that synth. I promise you. Especially if you're forcing them to all be different, you're going to have to force yourself to start turning different knobs and figuring out what different knobs do. Reading the manual will also help, but seriously, it's like doing push-ups for production. Big up Steven Staniak, 21. I can't read. I'm apparently illiterate. Fizo nonstop. Let's do this. Tell me, please, how do you feel about comparison to your Cocker Spaniel? A Cocker Spaniel? I'm kind of like one. I don't know. But yeah, literally straight up, if you're new to producing, even if you're not new to producing, sit down, make 50 patches today. Oh, wait, hold on. The chat stopped. No, it didn't. And I guarantee your sound design will get more interesting. This needs more interesting sound design. Sounds a little bit out of key. I'm going to keep going. They're like push-ups, but for dubstep. You got this. Big up Kylie Grams. When I say patches, I mean if you were to open up a synth, sorry, brain fart, weed. So a patch is like a saved preset in a software synthesizer. So like if you get Serum, you open up an initial preset, you change all these things, set up all these, I'll do all the things to make a cool sound. When you save that sound, that is a patch that you have saved that you can load back onto that synth. A lot of synths come with patches to begin with. You can download them on the internet, but the goal is to make your own. Because when you make your own, that's how you actually just sound like yourself. So like I make all my own patches, for example, and they all kind of sound like me because I do similar things across the board, Anyway. Big up Benny Central for subbing.
Then conduct an on-site experiment.
Solid drums and sound design, but something feels big up. Something happened. I don't know. Sounds empty in a weird way. The percussion needs to be louder. It's interesting sound design, but a little bit flat sound design. Intro's a little bit repetitive. Cymbals a little bit loud. I like the drum filter up, but the vocal sample is not very legible. When I say legible, I mean you can't really understand what he's saying.
Then conduct an on-site experiment.
I would take the cymbal out of the first hit. And you bring in the cymbals kind of like one by one. Bring them all in at the same time. stuff was overlapping there. But yeah, it just sounds a little bit empty and flat. I think more modulation would help. More background effects would help. More layers in particular would help the most, for sure. But the sound design is decent, but more modulation, more LFOs in your synth, more post processing. Drums were coming through good. Mixdown was generally solid. Sub was coming through solid. The mixdown, the principles are all there, but I think more interesting sound design, more interesting flow, honestly, which would come through more layers, and more percussion and better background ambiances going on. Oh, here's a whole bunch. The stereo image on that is cool. I'm really enjoying the hard panning going on. It's got that kind of Tipper vibe, but it definitely got real messy real quick, and I don't like the snare at all. It reminds me of an old Infected Mushroom breakdown, and it's really cool, but there's a little bit too much overlap going on, and the drums need work for sure. Okay, that's way all over the place. The intro panning was cool, but it definitely got really unorganized really, really quick. It was very off-key, and kind of just like... the panning was a lot. The drums... It sounds like there's no side chaining, but the drums need to be replaced, and the drums need to be side chained. There was so many time-based effects. Oh, is my grandfather calling me? Hold on 1 second. Hello? This is weird.
Who is it?
It's my doctor. I see that. No, I'm not confirmed. Like, that was so weird. I didn't think I had a doctor's appointment, and I just got a call from my doctor's office, being like confirming an appointment, and then they talked about coronavirus for like 20 minutes. So yeah, everyone's saying be a little bit less harsh in the chat. I think with a lot of these songs, everyone has different preferences on stuff. This is definitely like a schwangel kind of real trippy out there kind of tune, and I can absolutely respect that. But in terms of mixdown wise, it's just so all over the place. The drums need to come through more. There's so much sound overlap. And the music theory itself was just like harsh in that it was just so out of off key, which might be intentional, but just for my own personal preference, off key stuff isn't as nice to. It's not as silky smooth on your ear brains. So, you know. Yeah, it's so all over the place. The flow is, yeah, you know. But keep fucking. Oh God, Hugh K. Hugh K, you little rascal. Oh shit, fuck. You better make this downloadable. You did not use that sample. Oh my God, I literally miss you. What is this from? I've heard this before. Ollie sampled this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ollie, O-L-L-I period. But there was this dude I was obsessed with years ago named Ollie, and he had a song called like "I Miss You" or something. It was all super sad. But this is, I could have sworn he maybe used the same sample. Go absolutely fuck yourself, UK. Fuck right off. Yes, sir. This boy, he from the future. I don't know where he come from, but he from there. Shit, dicks. Fuck, that's so good. I got nothing bad to say about it. God damn, bro. Drums are perfect. Flow's perfect. Super fucking cool. Such UK flavor. Love the sample choice. Love the melody. It gets a little sort of kind of busy. But like it only gets busy because rhythm tunes, their drops are so long that like they just got to keep adding shit. Those hi-hat rolls could be a little bit clearer. Fantastic drum work. What a delight. Hugh K. Crushing it. Good lord. Big fire. Big fire. I'm only listening to one of these, so yeah. Goddamn, Hugh K. Hugh K, change that secret link right now.
Pick it up.
This is super, super cool, but those quarter notes are a little bit harsh. That shit was really cool. That was really cool. Maybe a little bit more sparkly detail stuff on the switch up. It gets a tad bit repetitive. But that's very tight. I like that a lot. Super clean. Very tight. Well done. Because that was so good. Oh, I know X-Talls. I'm listening to this. There's an X-Talls song I really dig. X-Talls and Sosas. We got X-Talls in the chat. Yo, I like your music. There's one of your tunes I played for a while. I forget which one. It might have been this one. No, I gotta find the X-Talls tune I like. That was cool, but it was a little bit flat. I feel like I wanted to hear more of a hook. Very, very clean, very well done. Everything was very sharp. And well sculpted. Ooh. Big up the Dabba Dog for subbing. CPU spikes are getting out of hand. This one. This was the tune that I really fuck with really hard. Bro, my CPU spikes are super fucking annoying. I want it to stop. I want to know what's causing it. I gotta do some research and figure out what's doing. Why is this doing this? OBS is such a cranky person. I've been obsessed with this song. God, I love that song. The new one is tight, but I think it needs more of a motif, more of a hook. I know Noizon. I know him too. Tight as fuck. God damn, that was sick. I loved that. Bro, that's sick as fuck. The only negative thing I could think of saying is that some of the sound overlap is a little bit cluttered, like right around here, with the fit, as well as the kind of Dirt Monkey sounding basses, as well as the screechy boys on top. It's just a tiny bit too much. Things starting and stopping all at the same time. It's a little bit too busy at that point. Sound design is so fresh. Mixdown is basically perfect. Some of the fill sounds are a little bit louder than the main basses. That feels just a hair bit weird, awkward, comes in a little bit strange, might be on purpose, but the bit it goes into is so tight. Those tonal delay basses, fuck off. Maybe some EQ scooping on some of the harsh frequencies could be in order. Someone said these are not amateur producers. We get a crazy range of stuff, and also I would not recommend submitting mashups. I'm not going to really feedback on those. I have an idea on how to a situation that cuts out my video and sound for a second. Yeah. Let's see if it goes down. This might be a solution if it doesn't go down. It could be, I think it's the dongle that my sound card is plugged into. Sometimes I gotta unplug it and plug it back in. It just bogs down the whole thing. It gets stuck in some sort of feedback loop in some way. Yeah, the dongle, the CPU. I mean, not CPU, the USB dongle. Waiting to see if the CPU chills out.
Yes.
The UPS. What's good? Bro, this is still fucked.
You can like make it wiggle.
Oh, wait, no. I can unplug this one, but not that one. All right, we're going to lose audio for a second. Can you guys still hear me? Yep. That's immediately better. Okay, plugging sound card back in. How we doing over here?
What is that?
Okay, your kicks are clipping and for sure overcompressed a little bit. And there's too many of them. There's a lot of kicks happening. You gotta EQ out your vocal samples. There's too much low end in them. And the squeaky boys have too much high end in them. You gotta EQ scoop the high end piercing frequencies out. The FX are crazy loud as well. That scream was too loud, it scared me. Decent flow, but it needs more interesting sound design, in my opinion. More movement sound design wise. It seems a little muffled or mushed out. Maybe the reverb filter sounds like a reverb filter, and I wouldn't recommend a reverb filter. Needs more texture in the sound design, and maybe more pitch bending potentially. Kicks were so loud in the intro, but the dynamic range, the drop is like as loud as the build because the kicks are so loud. I'm getting more emos. I'm getting more emails than I'm getting like 2 emails every time I finish a song. I'm just getting bogged down right now. I'm so hungry.
Said your goodbyes. Any last words? I must know.
There's some cool flows, but the sound design kind of lent to a mixdown that I wasn't super big on. The sound design, like, it was like all lower mids, but didn't have much high end, but felt kind of washed out texture wise. The ASDR was a little bit strange. The drums were great. I like the sub, but I don't know. It just felt a little bit flat. I think that's because it was kind of all one sound. Maybe more layers would make it more interesting. I like the sawtoothy sub pitch down thing. The kick was solid. I would filter the kick in the intro. Got a little bit repetitive, but mainly I think more layers, more call and responses bases, and more texture and interestingness. They got a little white noisy. Basses were a little bit washed out. Curtis makes a good point. I think the kick was too compressed. More Kimson brought up a good point. He thinks lower mid from the patch was clashing with the sub, and I think he was. The intro was kind of cool, but it was just super messy. It was a constant 1/8, and the kind of just reverby. The ASDR wasn't very well defined. By ASDR, I mean attack, decay, sustain, release of the basses. It was very mushed out and washed out. Cool build, but yeah, I wasn't too big on the drop. It was just very straightforward 1/80, kind of repetitive. Needs to be more interesting flow, more interesting motif, maybe more tonal elements in terms of going up and down and with notes. Big up Walk of Fam subscribing, but mostly sounded like there was a lot of reverb on stuff. The drums weren't coming through really. The other sounds over top of everything was kind of just clashing. Yeah. I just listened to this one. Cool.
Finally, power.
Very, very solid tune. Oh no, are we lagging again? Bro, I'm going to throw another computer off the roof. For real. I'm going to throw another computer off the roof. That was cool. I liked it a lot. Very high-endy, though. I would EQ the top end for sure. It was just very, very, very bright, kind of piercing. I liked it. It was very aggressive, hit really hard. Drums were coming through. It was a little messy as a result of the high end. I think the cymbals were kind of getting in the way a little bit. But well done. Could be a little bit more interesting flow. I really like the build. Sound design was good. Could be a little bit more unique. But you know, not definitely solid. You know, I think it would get a good response if you played it live for sure, just because of how loud it is. But it's not anything like I've totally haven't heard before, you know. I'm gonna do that, Alec. I'm gonna do that. Download the CPU skip thing, you know. Super fucking good. Holy shit. Wow, that was crazy good. Cyclops permitted the term fuck off. Yeah, that was very, very, very strong. Great mix down. All the super clean. Loved that super saw bass. Fantastic frequency response across the board. Loved the high end. Loved the way the sub was coming through. Kick was fantastic. Interesting patterns, good chord structure, really good. Goddamn, that was solid as hell. You don't need much feedback from me. You know what you're doing, man. Maybe be a little bit more unique. You know what I mean. But I fucked with it heavy. Yeah, that was great. Don't have really anything negative to say about that. Super good. Not something I would like play out, but it's mega clean. You know. Oh no, I had to download it. I don't want to download it. I'm just going to play it. Alright, that kick is fucked. The tail is so long. Ah! I don't like that. Nope. Something is wrong about that. I like the slower one, maybe. Yeah, hey, if that was phenomenal. Well done, sir. Oh, man. I'm done fucked up. Alright, fine. I'll open iTunes. Fine. Oh my god, bro. I'm confused, and that took so long. That was like some weird ambient thing. I don't know really how to feedback it, but I wasn't big on it. I don't know. I was like mad that it took so long and nothing really happened. Fatal's good as fuck. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to give feedback on that because there wasn't really a drop. That was super good. That was really good. The only critique I have, because I know Fatal and he's fucking obviously a fire producer and now has a fire tune. More unique. Yeah, that I don't have much wrong to say about that. It didn't quite hit me personally. I think just because I'm looking for more of a unique tune that maybe is a little bit less monotone. It was kind of one-notey. Mixdown was phenomenal. Sound design was pretty good. Drums were fantastic. But I think more interesting sound design might just be my personal preference. It's like a classic tear out tune style thing. Very good. Don't be mistaken for my insanely high standards. That's a super good song. Well done, sir. Would for sure crush dance floors. Maybe just I'm looking for more uniqueness, I think. That last song was Fatal. Everyone's saying play it again. Okay.
Drop.
The long note's good. I think it's the quarter notes. I don't know. It's super good, but it doesn't just strike me in some way. I couldn't explain it. These drums need side chaining. Sweep is too loud.
Inferno style. Susano. Flame control. Burnout.
My main issue is the drums. They sound really overly compressed, and they're not really punching through. Sounds like everything's kind of really overly compressed and kind of clipping and needs EQ scooping, but needs less compression in general. The subs is really strange in regard to the main basses. It sounds like the main basses are like mid-side EQ'd incorrectly almost in a way. They're lacking high end and they're lacking stereo range. On the more generic sound in terms of sound design. And yeah, I don't know. This is one of those things where it sounds like you're still learning, so just keep making a bunch of songs and they'll eventually get better. Those sounds are definitely too blown out. Sounds very flat frequency response wise. They're all kind of hitting in the same range. Needs more modulation and less compression. And more side chaining. Something smells amazing. I think Sonia's making food right now. I wonder what she's making.
Oh shit! Get the fuck out of here!
The hi-hats are way too loud compared to the basses. The basses sound a little bit too much like a generic Bend Plus bass. The flow needs to be more repetitive and symmetrical. And the drums are a little bit too overcompressed. The hi-hats are definitely overcompressed. The subs coming through pretty solid. I'm just not big on the sound design. The flow works. Dip for flat. I'm not gonna play fucking Skrillex. Stop spamming the chat. Needs better sound design and the hi-hats are too loud. Drums are coming through, but they're definitely overcompressed. Wow, I think Sonia's making bacon. It smells amazing. I think I've met this guy before. Drums are solid, but the instrumentation is kind of really flat sounding. Needs more interesting synths. I like the background pad, but I don't like the main lead.
You don't came in this club with
First initial drop was solid, but I don't like those eighth notes. Very solid tune. Good mixdown. Kind of following the long note, quarter note trend, but I'm not big on those second notes.
you don't came in the club.
It gets a little repetitive at that point.
You don't came in this club with your motherfucking club with your motherfucking club with your motherfucking. You don't came in the club with your motherfucking clique. You don't. You don't came in this. You don't walk with.
It's solid, but it's just like stuff I've heard before, I think. It's interesting. The vocal sample for sure got repetitive. I think the flow in general got repetitive. Very good, but not very creative. Mixdown was very solid. Sound design is the weakest part, I think. But definitely solid. I mean, you could play it. It's just not very unique.
Two-door coupe, hopping out like Jack in the Box, nigga. I'm gon' shoot if the sturdy shoulder that drive. Two-door coupe, hopping out like Jack in the Box, nigga. I'm gon' shoot if the sturdy's all that I got. Two-door coupe, I'm gon' shoot. 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 Two-door coupe.
So I don't like that second sound that comes in right there, and the 808 pitching down I'm not crazy about. I like the two-door coupe sample, but I don't like the ya 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 sample. I don't like those background synths. The pew, 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 pew. I really don't like that, but I like everything else. Those background stabs really kill it for me. Very cool though. I'm gonna be real with you. I really don't like the alias benzos, only because benzos are bad. I don't support benzo abuse. Xanax is whack, don't do it. Wow, my CPU is shitting its pants once again. Fucking goddamn. CPU, please stop. Just be cooperative. Even my mouse is lagging. like that coin sample. That was super. My issue is it's super out of key. The drop is just in a totally different key, than the rest of the song. And I'm kind of just tired of trap brass sounds being the main lead sound in a trap song. The main long note bass sounds a little bit like Tynan, but messier. And I mean, it's cool, but I would, it just doesn't connect to the box. It's just like a totally different song. Also, I don't like, I'm not gonna say change your name, but like, Benzos are whack. I've seen him ruin so many people's lives. I don't want to glorify him. But you know, cool song, just didn't fit with the intro, and a little bit generic. Oh, track not found. I gotta roast you a little bit for saying Big Tude's coming 2020. Big things coming, bro. So it sounds like you're in the process of learning neuro, and the sounds are great, but the dynamic range is crazy. You need to gain stage. A lot of the sounds are very different volumes from each other. Some of them are very loud, some of them are very quiet. The main number one issue, two big issues for me with this tune. The drums need to be so much louder and change them. Yeah, the snare was just very weak. You need like a neuro-y kind of snare. And it felt kind of really slow. More percussion, but just better drums and way louder drums. All the basses were louder than all of the drums. The basses were also very loud. The number two issue is you need more of a established and consistent flow / motif / bass line / call and response. Kind of just seemed like random, this sound, and then this sound, and then this sound, and then this sound, and then this sound. I think you could have found a more consistent, repetitious flow / bass line that would make it more catchy. Very interesting sounds. You're definitely getting the hang of Respace sound design, but mixdowns would be the next thing. Hey, big up, someone subscribed. The next thing would be to, you know, work on your mixdowns, get your basses sounding even volume wise, and then drums punching through, and better drums, and fill it out with more things going on, and more consistent pattern. Oh, I'm sorry, Benzos. Your name might be fine. I don't want to say I hated your name. It's awesome. I'm honored that you say I'm your idol. That's so cool, man. And the tune is super super tight. And you definitely know what you're doing. You know, I don't know. Yeah, honestly, just fucking send it. Like, there's a dude named Lil Xan. I just don't like to, like, condone Xanax use, you know. Bro, my CPU is shitting his pants. This is what I get for being so harsh on that guy. Man. Yeah, honestly, like, I've changed my name a bunch of times. Yeah, and Benzel might be cooler, honestly. Yeah, man. Best of luck, dude, for real. Because I've changed my name too, and you might not have to change your name, especially if this is the first you're hearing about it. You know, that was just like my gut response. But I've also like been to rehab and shit, so I'm like pretty sensitive to it. And as I said before, I kind of treat song like I can kind of pick up on people's skill level when I hear the song, and I can tell that you know what you're doing, and you're pretty good. So I gave you feedback to like pretend like imagine I'm giving someone feedback to the level that they'd want it. You know what I mean? Where the songs that are you can tell it's someone way newer. Not only is the feedback a little bit vaguer or more general, but I want to be a little bit nicer, you know, to the really new guys.
Hit 'em. Hit 'em like. Hit 'em. Hit 'em like. Hit 'em like. Yes. Hit 'em like. Yes. Yes. Hit 'em like. Hit 'em like. Yes. Hit 'em.
Wow. Major points for interesting sound design. It's just a little bit either atonal or out of key. Very cool sound design though. Good sample use build can be a little bit more interesting. Solid mix down, but it could be filled out more. Someone asked what my name was before. I used to go by Architect.
Hit 'em. Like.
I like that Hawk sample.
Like. Hit 'em like this. Hit 'em like this. This. Like. Hit 'em like. Hit 'em like. This.
That's really cool, but it's a little bit out of key. But it's still very cool. I think as you make more songs, you'll learn to fill out with more detail, add more attention to detail. You know, very nice though. Keep going. Interesting sounds. Oh shit, what happened? Big ups. It's Wizzly for cheering. Oh no, the sound wasn't found. My CPU is screaming in agony. Got another noise on tune. I think I've heard this. Kick's a little bit blown out and overcompressed. Good build, but the kick's a little much right there.
Put your fucking life on the Put your fucking
Pretty fucking good, my guy. Those Reese's are dope. Drums are great. Good sample. The voice is clipping a little bit. Could be a little bit more creative flow-wise with the long note over top the quarter note or long note over top the 1/6 note. Kudos for doing a 1/6 as opposed to doing a 1/4. The sound design for the pluck itself could be a little bit more interesting, but the long note's great, drums great, mix down's very solid. Good tune all around. Could be a little bit more interesting. Bro, okay, yeah. That's the second noise on tune. I'm only going to do two. I normally only do one. when you made me an egg sandwich. I thought, oh my god, I love you so much. Thank you so
I
much.
love you.
I'm blown away. I thought you were just making. Oh my god, thank you so much. I love you. Oh my god, thank you. All right. Sounds like Mastodon, huh? Solid tune. Sounds too much like Mastodon for sure. One of those bass stabs sounds hella familiar. Maybe you just made it similar. But one of those bass stabs sounds like really familiar. I don't know. Some of the fill sounds weren't as strong as the main sounds. Curtis spot on. Snare was definitely overcompressed. A little bit too Mastodon-y for me, but still very cool. Those machine guns are buried. The transient is just like weak on it. Samples are solid. Yeah. Sound design can use some more development. It's a little flat sounding. Oh, back. This sandwich is dank. I just spilled eggs. I'm so done with my computer today. I'm gonna let it chill for a second, see if the CPU is cool. It literally sounds like I'm playing out of Ableton and my CPU is spiking, but it's out of Chrome. That's ridiculous. I can't believe OBS takes that much of a toll on my computer. Crazy.
Take him down.
Danger.
Young Company with the laser sounds before the snares. That's pretty tight. The sub was lacking for sure. The lower mid was lacking for sure. Good. You know what you're doing. Drums are coming through. Long note was pretty tight. We should stop with the quarter note long notes, but I'm guilty of it myself, so I can't say shit. Could be a more interesting flow. Some of the sound design was a little bit weaker, but the drums were good. Mixdown was solid. Just try and be more unique. This is breakfast, bro. The main thing was that song needed more sub. Eating eggs with my hands.
Hey, me too.
Yeah. Is there a water bottle in here or no? Okay. I don't like those drums. This sounds like someone who's newer to producing. Is this 6 months ago?
Feel like I'm going insane.
Sounds like you just duplicated it and it's phasing out really aggressively. Okay, this sounds like someone who like just started producing. It's super empty. A million more layers, more interesting sound design, better drums, louder drums, more drums. Keep learning. I'm gonna file this into the category of excuse me, hard to get feedback because it sounds like they just started. That long note layer is out of key. I don't want to just tear it to shreds. I mean, the bleep is too loud. Yeah, it sounds like you just duplicated it and they're phasing over top of each other. Keep making songs, keep learning, keep making more music. It will get better eventually. It takes a while. Cool, but generic so far. It's solid with a vaguely interesting flow. It needs to be catchier, but the main thing is the sounds just sound like Virtual Riot sounds. I know I'm such a fucking hypocrite because I talk shit on kids who feel like they can claim when they hear samples, and maybe they're not samples, but they just sound like they are kind of. More interesting sound design is needed. I can't get past it. I need to hear more interesting sound design. Drums were also overcompressed a little bit. More interesting flow, more memorable flow, more notes being used. Just really generic sounding. I'm going to literally start crying if my computer doesn't start cooperating. I need to see how I can monitor what's... I bet it's OBS that's taking up all my CPU. I mean, it's using 30% of my CPU right now. There's probably something in the settings that I can use or I can change. Kick was too loud. Those are cool intro drums. I like them. I like the vocal processing, but the siren's a little bit loud.
Fuck it.
That was tight. I like that a lot. It reminds me of Matt Doe. It was hella clean. The long note was a little bit like, oh, they're doing a long note on the Switch. Oh, creative. But I like the flow a lot. Percussion was fantastic. Good flow, good sound design, great drums. Really cool tune for sure. Very solid. Definitely a little repetitive. And I'd like to see the Switch be like a different thing instead of just a long note thing. But really good. Very solid. Don't have much negative things to say about it. A sandwich.
Start over.
This already sounds like core.
Activated. With every death comes honor. With honor, redemption. With honor, redemption. Weakling. Perfect. Yeah.
God damn. That vape hit really hard. You know what I mean? Because I ground up that vape so fine. The vape smoke was way denser and smacked me in the face. I ripped that vape too hard. That was a big vape rip. Okay, this song, the basses and the snares way too overly compressed. The sound design is really white noisy and really washed out, and it's too bricked out. Yeah, it's really bricked out. All the sounds, they're like bricks. It's too bricky because it's too overly compressed and too repetitive. What? Oh, you forgot to attach it. Rip.
Yes.
That happens a lot. I've done that before too. I've like sent Never Say Die stuff and forgot to attach things. What? That's fucking cool as hell.
Are you mad? Are you mad?
Bro, my CPU is shitting its pants because I just downloaded this song for the intro alone. I'm gonna, even if I don't like this drop, I'm gonna play that intro because that intro is tight as hell.
Are you mad?
That's cool, but I was a little disappointed. The intro was so fucking unique and interesting. I was hoping the drop would be unique and interesting, but it was kind of just quarter notes. I like the intro more than I like the drop by a lot. The drop is solid, but the intro is like, whoa, that was fucking cool. I really, really, really like the intro, but I wasn't too big on the drop. It was kind of just like quarter notes, quarter notes, quarter notes, quarter notes. I like the motif of the melody being carried through on that tonal delay bass. That was cool. It was a little bit mushed out with all the layers going on. Drums were punching through solid. I might still play it if I get a good double for it. But that intro, bro, that intro is tight as hell.
Are you mad?
I think the drums maybe are a little bit just too generic sounding. Evil Noise, that's really cool, but I was the intro is cooler than the drop in my opinion. That intro is fucking tight as hell. I instantly downloaded it. I don't know if you noticed. That is a really cool intro. Love the Sawtooth sub. So tight. Yeah! Little dog. I feel like I'm at my middle school dance right now. Yo, Hesh would love this probably. He's like, shit, get the fuck out of here. I don't like that shit. It's my Hesh impression.
Speaking for me, Jeff.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. I'm gonna suggest this again, because it happened earlier in the chat. It sounds like someone who is newer. The crash cymbals are really loud. The brass is really loud. It's really generic to do the brass on all of that. But my main thing was with the sound design. It's just very flat sounding. It needs more modulation, more layers, maybe. More LFOs potentially. But I think what will be really beneficial is if you were to sit down at your computer and make 50 new bass patches that are all distinguishably different from one another, and just do that as an exercise. And I promise that if you do that, maybe more than, I mean, if you do it 3 or 4 times, but if you do it once, I think you will notice an improvement. And if you just keep fucking doing that, literally make 400 bass patches. You don't have to use any of them. They don't have to be fucking good, you know? But if you make like, just force yourself, like push-ups, you know what I mean? Just grind over and over, just making distinguishably different bass sounds. And they all have to be distinguishably different. It gets harder once you get up to like 40 or 50. You're like, fuck, I can't make a new sound. But just keep experimenting. Oh, my grandfather is potentially able to be called soon. But yeah, just force yourself to make a shitload of new sounds, and you'll eventually get better, and then your sound design will get more interesting. Because that song needed more interesting sound design. That's how I would recommend going about that. Gooby Whip. My CPU's shitting out again, but this song is good. I like it a lot. Fuck it. Cool, it's downloaded. I know it probably murders the stream. Was good. Oh man. My camera's frozen. Camera. Please don't be frozen. But I think you are. No. These are sad times. Hold on. Let me fucking unplug it and plug it back in. One sec. Which one is it? This one. Cool. Plug back in. What up? We fixed it. Yeah. Jeez Louise. I'm gonna unplug my sound card real quick. Cool. Sound card unplugged. Sound card plugged back in. So the LFO rate or the LFO patterns get a little bit too out there for me towards the end, but this is a fucking good ass tune. The high end is a little bit, I think much could be scooped and shaped a little bit. It's a little bit screechy at times. Yeah, they definitely have some piercing frequencies that can be EQ scooped out, maybe pushed out a little bit more. There could be a little bit more lower mids, but I understand that the point of this song is that it's really empty. Some of the repeats, the ASDRs are kind of weird. Maybe freeze and flatten and shape the fades potentially, or automate some reverb maybe, or not. I like the sub and what you've done with the sub. Yeah. The chants are a little bit loud and can be EQ'd a little bit. Yes, for sure. And there's also a quarter note bass on the offbeat that could be EQ'd a little bit. About it. You lose me with that LFO pattern a little bit, but fucking good ass work, my guy. Well done. I dig it. Someone about a raid. Oh, Spaghetti's here. What up? What up? And Quicks. Hello, people. If you are here, thank you for coming. What's poppin'? Bro, my computer literally can't. This is crazy. Nothing else is open. I think I definitely set up OBS wrong, and that's why this is happening. There's got to be something I'm doing wrong. Because, like, this is a fucking quad-core i7. It's like, I want to say 4.1 gigahertz with 16 gigs of RAM. You know, it's like, it should be solid, at least. You know? I think it's alright. Is my camera frozen again? It looks like it's frozen. No, it's not. Honestly, Alec might be right. It could be the heat. I'm going to prop my computer up a little bit. I might be having fan issues. It does feel quite warm. Bing bong, bing 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 bong. Bing bong, bing 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 bong. I think the CPU is going down. How you doing, Sony?
Good.
You want to work on songs?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Thanks.
Oh, CPU. Fucking Spaghetti with the facts. Saying, I have no clue, man. Been trying to set this up. It's more hectic than any problem I've had in 10 years of producing. Heard that. I wish I knew what I was doing in terms of streaming. That's super cool. This song is really tight. Will changing my OBS to window capture really save that much CPU? This song is really cool. I like the line notes a lot. Very clean. I almost don't even have anything bad to say about it. I'd download it. If it wouldn't crash the stream, fuck it, I'm downloading it. It's a cool song. I honestly don't have anything bad to say about it. Some of the fill sounds are a little loud. And yeah, it does sound a little like Peekaboo. That part, the lower mid, is clipping because the sub is over top of the low frequency sounds. That right there, your 808s are clipping with your sub and your kick. And the other clipping is my CPU shitting its pants. Where is preview? Also, right click on your preview. Man, I don't know. Shit's definitely fucked. I unplug my sound card. I'm gonna see if this CPU goes down. Not even really. Damn. Good Lord. Yeah, it's 100% OBS. Huh. It's using 300 fucking percent on my CPU right now. There's something awry. I guess I could try removing the chat box. I don't know if it's gonna do much. I use Streamlabs. CPU is down to 20. Nope, still fucked. I think it's probably just some settings in OBS that I'm doing wrong. I'm gonna hit up Dr. Ozzy about it. That's pretty cool. The brass being the main lead is kind of generic. Same with the lead itself, but I really like your 808. The 808 is very interesting and cool. Cool sampling. Drums are good. Sounds are a little generic. I don't know if using window capture would really save that much CPU. I think there's something else going wrong with how, like, some sort of buffer rate or some sort of settings I have set up. Bro, I'm going to cry. My CPU is lower down. I'm looking at Twitch, it looks so behind. Sad. I'm not using Safari.
Fuck 'em.
The patterns and sound design, the patterns and mixdown are good, but I'm really not big on the sound design. It's very like hard trappy in a way that it's like really only high end and upper mids. There's like no mid range. Drums are great. I like the background sirens. The pattern was good. The mixdown was good. It's just the sound design for me is like very piercing and lacking mid range, I think. Yeah. Very tight though. Definitely know what you're doing. Probably more of a not my cup of tea kind of thing. Oh. Track not found. I think we listened to this last week. I remember listening to this last week. Similar feedback. Well done, but needs to be more interesting and unique. This dude sent it last week. He's I missed it, so I'm gonna listen to it this week. I'm probably gonna end the stream soon because my computer is shitting its pants. I need to troubleshoot. Bro, oh my god. I like literally can't anymore. This is gonna be the last one, I think. My computer is just like, it can't handle it. there's a lot of piercing elements in the basses. The snare is the main thing that needs to be fixed. The snare is very thin, and it kind of punches through because of how aggressively it's side-changed, but it's not a very good snare sample. It's kind of really bright, not punching through in the lower mids. The basses are too bright and don't have much lower mids. The flow is kind of all over the place. It needs to be better arranged and catchier. The tones of the basses, it kind of just sounds like different notes kind of up and down. The one long note underneath everything is really getting in the way. Some of the basses are just like too wet and bright for my preference. I do like some of the sounds, it's just that the way that they're overlapping is too hectic and doesn't really mesh very well together. The FX is a little bit too loud as well. I feel so bad that I just tear these songs to shreds. I can't turn it off. The best way for me to give critique is to just like immediately say what I'm thinking. CPU, bro. Every song now I have to pause.
Yikes, man.
It's crazy. I don't like that snare. So the moment before the drop got too busy with stuff. You need that gap between a build and a drop, and I'm also not too big on the sound design. It needs more mids, but then the growl that comes in needs more highs. Sounds like there's phasing in the lower mids between layers, and also just needs to be like more interesting sound design and cleaner. I think the sub is getting in the way as well. The sub is too loud, and the snare's a little bit awkward. Please send SoundCloud links. I don't want to download things that like destroys the stream. This is gonna be the last one. I'm so tired.
Morty, I need your...
Oh my god, my CPU. I'm gonna let it load.
Your help. We need to go on a quick adventure.
You said I could go to school today.
That was before I needed something, Morty.
Jeez, okay. I guess I can skip piss.
Inappropriate drums for intro. The hi-hat's too loud and kind of flat sounding. Weird drum placement. Those drums are really spazzy.
Capable species just got discovered in the Amazon. Let's go make first contact before someone else gets all their shit.
I don't like the way the hi-hat faded down, and that hover sound in the background is too loud.
Don't do it, guys. The casualties would be in the Brazilians. Because you're Brazilian? It's a threat and a pun. Nobody gets me. Me.
That synth is too loud.